witches!
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another folklore episode where today we're going to be still in Japan. We're going to be talking about yokai and some other lesser known creatures. So yeah, let's just get into it. It is 90 something degrees here in South Carolina, and it's hot as fuck. So I'm hot in this booth. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with Japan or anything of the cultural folklore that surrounds them, there are stories all over Japan that kind of deal with everyday phenomena, but it's like wrapped around like a ghost story in a way. So there's stories of river monsters that can drag you beneath the water, foxes that can disguise themselves as beautiful women, demons that drink sake and feast on humans, snow spirits that stalk travelers during blizzards, and even umbrellas that can come alive after 100 years. So these creatures are known as yokai, and for centuries they've haunted the imagination of Japan. So we're going to talk about where yokai come from, how they evolved throughout Japanese history, talk about some of their most famous supernatural beings ever created, and kind of like, I wouldn't say like modern time, but maybe touch base on a little bit on more modernized stuff. So yeah. The word yokai literally refers to supernatural beings and strange phenomena. So in English, they're often translated as monsters, demons, ghosts, goblins, or spirits, but no single word can really capture what a yokai is. Some are terrifying, some can be helpful, some are mischievous, and some are just simply bizarre. Um, so a yokai might be a river monster, a fox spirit, a ghost seeking revenge, a demon from hell, or even an old household object that suddenly develops a personality on its own. One thing that does make a yokai unique is that your dog, like,
He's having a dream!
sleeping.
Odin,
He's
hi,
barking at
baby.
them. He's barking
It's
at them
just a dream.
bitches.
It's just a dream.
He's
It's
like, no,
okay.
mom, it's for life. One thing that does make yokai unique is that they're not inherently always good or evil. So many Western monsters usually exist purely as villains. Yokai are actually much more complicated than that. They can help people, but they can also harm people, or they can simply exist as part of the natural world. So, to understand why this is, we kind of need to go back to the very beginning. So, the history of yokai, we're going to go back to ancient Japan. So, long before modern Japan existed, people believed that spirits inhabited every part of nature. And this is something that we see in a lot of different, not just Japanese folklore, but we see that in a lot of other folklore. They believed that spirits inhabited mountains, forests, rivers, waterfalls, storms, even unusual rocks. And it's kind of like the phenomenon of the suicide forest. Some
Oh, yeah.
people believe that it is just a regular forest that trails and people go to commit suicide. Others believe that there are spirits that kind of take the traveler off the beaten path and then get to the point where they kill themselves. Or am I even allowed to say that? Suicide. So it really just kind of depends on who you speak to about like the location. But like they literally made a movie about it called The Forest, and it's like it's a very good movie. Brandy hasn't seen it because it's a scary movie, but it's a very good movie. And it's kind of takes on the idea of like something supernatural is going on, and it's like causing people to like hallucinate. So that is something that is not necessarily well known, but like it's kind of like a phenomenon that happens. But these beliefs eventually became part of Shinto, or the Japanese indigenous religion. Ancient communities lived closely with nature. Oh, hell yeah. Will doesn't have to drive on site. We love that. We love supportive kings. Sorry, Will is on call today, and he was going to have to drive 3 hours away from here at 8 o'clock at night to go help somebody. And he just said, I don't have to go on site. Someone's going to go for me because they live in that area.
Nice.
So we love that. We love that. But anyways, ancient communities lived closely with nature. I think as do most ancient communities, like the Hawaiians lived with them. Native American tribes lived with them. And also like ancient, would you consider like Aztec, Incan?
I feel like that's Native American. It's not Native United States, but it's Native America.
Yeah. Like it's not necessarily Hispanic culture because that is a wide variety, and we're talking about like 3 specific tribes of some sort. But like Inca, the Mayans, the Aztecs, they all did too. So a river could provide food, but also flood and destroy villages. A mountain could provide resources, but also swallow travelers forever. Without scientific explanations, people often explained these mysteries through supernatural stories. And the earliest ancestors of yokai weren't necessarily monsters. They were unexplained forces that people respected as well as feared. Also, I'm in my 3rd trimester, so I am winded. So apologies for breathy everything. My diagram is ever changing every day. All right, so Shinto is one of the indigenous religions of Japan, but Buddhism also is too. So Buddhism arrives to Japan, and that's kind of when everything began changing around the 6th century. When Buddhism arrived from mainland Asia, along with it came ideas about demons, hungry ghosts, karmic punishment, and supernatural realms. Chinese folklore also influenced Japanese storytelling, not just the other 2 religions. These traditions often blended with existing beliefs, like creating a rich supernatural world unlike anything else on Earth. Probably very similar to like about called it Ragnarok. The ethereal plane that the Norse go to when they pass. Not Valhalla. I guess it's kind of like Valhalla, but there's another one.
Yep, I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, right? Like heaven, like that kind of thing. So that's kind of probably where some of the Chinese folklore came, started. Like, I wouldn't say like they believe in like heaven or hell or kind of thing, but that idea probably helped also influence Japanese storytelling. At this point, spirits became more than just mysterious forces. They actually gained names and personalities, background stories, motivations, and then this fusion really helped create what we now know and recognize as yokai folklore. Between the 12th and the 16th centuries, Japan experienced centuries of political conflict. This was known as the Age of the Samurai. And that's reflected in yokai stories. So many supernatural beings became warriors. Others became enemies for legendary heroes to defeat. There are some stories that emphasized bravery, loyalty, honor, and martial skill. The greatest example of the story of Japan's most famous. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, the heat's getting to me. I'm hot. The greatest example is the story of Japan's most famous demon king. Jesus Christ. All right. The most recognizable Japanese demons are known as oni. These are like giant ogres with colorful skin, horns, sharp teeth, and enormous iron clubs. When I think of oni, I think of those like colorful masks that have like tusks in their teeth area that kind of like go up. They're like bottom tusks, You ever see those?
Yeah.
Um, for those who are, um, no, not meaning. I want a mask, damn it. Like this. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm over here trying to show the screen and it's not even it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have like teeth everywhere. They have horns. They can have pointy ears, different coloring. Some have white faces. Some have dark black faces. That's kind of like the Oni idea. But it's kind of like an ogre. Oni represent destruction, violence, greed, and chaos. And it's so funny to like learn about this because there are games out there that are like Assassin's Creed games that kind of get deep into history or the history of like the region that it's set in. And they kind of mix like real life history with like your character and like you're kind of like the person doing certain things that like dramatically change history. Um, and there is another one called The Ghost of Tsushima, and you actually can collect Oni masks as part of your, I guess, outfit. And it like kind of helps increase your reputation, I believe. It's been a while since I played that game, but um, so it's not it's in regular it's in modern gaming as well as it's definitely in like anime. I think it was also in mm, Avatar: The Last Airbender when Prince Zuko was like the random fighter. He put on a mask and he would with like the blue mask or something like that, and he'd go fight his people. Um, there was the most famous Oni, and that was the Shuten Doji. According to legend, Shuten Doji lived on Mount Oe, near Kyoto. He ruled an army of demons and kidnapped women from surrounding communities. Kinky. There's probably a monster story about that. Or an AI story
Probably.
circulating Facebook about that too. Eventually, the emperor called upon the hero Minamoto no Raiko. Raiko and his warriors disguised themselves as traveling monks and entered the demon's fortress. They offered Shuten Doji enchanted sake, and the demon drank and drank some more. Eventually, he collapsed into a drunken sleep, and seeing their opportunity, the warriors drew their swords and cut off his head. But according to the legend, the story wasn't over. Shuten Doji's severed head flew through the air and attempted to bite Raiko before finally dying. Even headless, the Demon King remained dangerous. It's one of the most famous monster stories in Japanese folklore. I wonder if that's kind of where they got the masks from.
Maybe.
Excuse you.
Yeah, my throat
Um,
just did a weird thing and then there was a burp at the end of it, okay?
I hate those where it just kind of like gurgles on your own. You're like, what the fuck? I didn't tell you to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not voluntary.
Da-da-da-da. Oh, okay. We're going to talk about Tengu. So another famous yokai is the Tengu. Today, they're often depicted as red-faced mountains. Oh, hello. Okay, goodbye. Today, they're often depicted as red-faced mountain spirits with long noses. Doesn't that kind of remind you of a red cap in a way?
A little bit, but honestly, the first thing that popped into my head was the sword master from Demon Slayer with the mask with the long, like,
That's probably what
nose.
it is. Demon
Maybe.
Slayer, what was it?
He's like the sword master or sword maker or
It's definitely not this thing. Hold on.
yes. with the weird nose or mouth.
Well, yeah, I can understand that. This one's got long noses though, but originally they looked more bird-like. So you'll often see them depicted as red-faced mountain spirits with long noses, but they're actually more bird-like in originally. So
Hmm.
Tengu dwell in mountains and forests, and they're masters of martial arts. They are experts in swordsmanship and notorious tricksters. So many stories portray them as punishing arrogant people. Yes, we love that. Others depict them as teachers. So one famous legend claims that Japan's celebrated warrior Minamoto, man, I went into that confident. Minamoto no Yoshitsune learned swordsmanship from Tengu while training in the wilderness. Oh man, that's like a Jedi moment right there. Oh, okay. I was gonna say I can't hear you if you're talking. I'm not supposed to. Whether feared or respected, Tengu became symbols of mysterious hidden power hidden in Japan's mountains. Mountains are powerful things, anyways. They can create. What can they create? They can create earthquakes. They can create landslides. They can create avalanches. Like that's pretty terrifying. You are on a different recording thing, by the way.
I see that because I muted, I guess.
I just want to let you know if you're having a conversation. That's not supposed to be heard.
Uh-uh.
So yeah, so those are some of the famous, more famous type of yokai. So now we're gonna kind of talk about the golden age of yokai. This is the Edo period, where there was like monster mania. So the Edo period from 1603 until 1868 was considered the golden age of yokai. After centuries of warfare, Japan entered a long period of relative peace. And I'm saying long, like we're talking about like 200 fucking years, 260 years worth of peace. During this time, cities expanded, literacy increased, printing became very widespread, and people became obsessed with supernatural entertainment. People gathered for frightening storytelling competitions. Oh no, I did not look this one up. Whew. You ever just read through something and you're like, yeah, I'm good, I got this, and then all of a sudden you realize yeah. People gathered for frightening storytelling competitions called Hyakumono Gatari. Hyakumono Gatari.
Close enough.
That's gonna work for me. The goal is simple. Not no one, tell 100 ghost stories. Many participants believed that by the end of the night, they actually might summon a spirit. Books about monsters became extremely popular during this time. Artists filled scrolls and woodblock prints with strange supernatural creatures, and no artist had a bigger impact than Toriyama Seikian. Toriyama Seikian. His illustrated collections helped define the appearance of many yokai still recognized today, and some of those creatures have become legends. So here's some of the I don't want to say the more well-known, but like if you hear the name, you're like 90% going to know who they are. The first one is called the Kappa. This is known as the polite river monster. It is one of the most famous yokai. The Kappa is a creature that's part turtle, part frog, and part human. So it's a water creature. It's going to probably have frog-like hands, but it's going to be humanoid in appearance, and it's going to have probably like a turtle shell of some sort. Kappa live in rivers and ponds, and historically, stories about them were often used to warn children away from dangerous water. Hispanic culture has one called La Llorona. Stay away from the dangerous water. In some stories, Kappa drown people, and in others, they actually challenge humans to contests. But every Kappa has one major weakness. They are obsessively polite. On top of their heads is a bowl-like depression filled with water. That water gives them their supernatural strength. If you bow to a kappa, it must bow back, and when it bows, the water spills out. Suddenly, this terrifying monster becomes quite powerless, and there are even stories of where humans help refill the kappa's bowl, earning a loyal supernatural friend. So you disrespect them, you better respect them right back. The next one is the Kitsune. They are fox spirits. And these are probably maybe some of the most beloved yokai.
Yeah, I think we've covered both of those before, the Kappa and
Yeah.
the Kitsune.
We've covered them not in folklore, but in cryptids.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Even though they're not really a cryptid, we still.
Yeah, like we consider them more of a cryptid just at that point because it was something that people claim to have seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what cryptids are. Paranormal sightings. Kitsune are magical fox spirits, famous for intelligence, trickery, and shape-shifting abilities. They are cute as hell, but they will fuck you up. As they grow older, they become increasingly powerful. Some legends claim they can live for centuries. Others say powerful kitsune gain additional tails as they age. Many disguise themselves as humans, and some become wandering merchants. Others become beautiful women, and some are benevolent messengers associated with the Shinto deity Inari. Others enjoy deceiving humans. And the most famous kitsune story involves Tamamo no Mie. Mie. Yeah. Tamamo no Mie. Listen,
I
when
don't
you
know.
when you take Russian language and you see a specific lettering choice in here, you're gonna immediately start saying it that way. It's MYE, so it's probably May, but my brain wants to say Mie, and it's not it. Anyways, Tamamo no May appeared at the imperial court and quickly became admired for her beauty and intelligence. But soon afterward, the emperor became mysteriously ill, and investigators eventually discovered a terrible, terrible secret. She was no human. She was actually a powerful nine-tailed fox spirit. After her defeat, legends claimed her spirit haunted a cursed object known as the Seso Seki, or the Killing Stone. Even today, it's one of Japan's most enduring supernatural legends. The next one is called the Yuki-Onna. So not every yokai is a monster. Some are very beautiful, and there are a few that are more haunting than this one. This one is called the Snow Woman. According to legend, travelers trapped in blizzards sometimes encounter a mysterious woman dressed entirely in white. She glides through the snowfall, and her breath freezes the air. Her beauty is unforgettable, and her presence often means death. In one of the most famous versions, she spares a young woodcutter during a snowstorm. But years later, he marries a mysterious woman. And one night, he tells her about his encounter with the Snow Woman, and she reveals the truth. She was the Snow Woman all along, and with that revelation, she disappears forever into the winter darkness, and it's one of Japan's greatest supernatural tragedies. Sorry. Sorry, Scar. I'm so sorry. It is just hot in this booth. Okay. Let's talk about some really weird yokai, because that's always fun. This is when the folklore gets strange. Okay, so we're going to discuss how the yokai, it proves that Japanese folklore has some wonderfully bizarre imagination. There's the Rokurokubi. By day, they appear perfectly normal, but at night, their necks stretch to impossible lengths. Then there's the Futakuchi Onna. Onna, who is a woman with a second mouth hidden on the back of her head. Ooh, that kind of sounds terrifying in a way. And then the Akanami. This is a creature that sneaks into dirty bathrooms and licks grime from tubs and floors.
What?
Yes, that one actually exists in folklore, and it's called Scarlet. um, then there is the Tsukumo Gami. These are objects that come alive after existing for 100 years. So, like umbrellas, lanterns, sandals, tools. The idea reflects an old belief that everything possesses a spirit and that you need to treat your belongings correctly. Because if you treat them badly, they might eventually get revenge on you. That's fun. I really need that demon to come, the Akanami, to come over here and clean my bathroom. Perhaps no image captures the imagination more than the Yagyo. This is called the Night Parade of 100 Demons. Scar, I don't know what you want me to do. So imagine a dark street late at night and you hear distant footsteps, then laughter, some drums, and then hundreds of supernatural creatures just emerge from the darkness. There's demons, there's ghosts, there's monsters, there's living objects. Can you imagine going to something like this and just seeing somebody dressed up like a fucking umbrella or like a chancla? Like,
no.
what if somebody pisses you off in the middle of the crowd and that like chancla just goes flying? I got a little baby next to me. She's like, I'm coming in here with my mama. Every type of yokai imaginable marching together through the night. According to legend, anyone fortunate enough to encounter the parade without protection risked death or even disappearance. And it's one of the most iconic images in Japanese folklore. That would be fun, but terrifying at the same time because you would probably think it's some party coming by. So yokai in the modern world, they never really went away. Everything just kind of changed during the Meiji Restoration, which began in 1868. Japan rapidly modernized during this time. Railroads appeared and factories had expanded, and science increasingly replaced supernatural explanations for strange events. But the yokai never actually vanished. Instead, they adapted. In the 20th century, artist Shigeru Mizuki helped introduce traditional yokai to modern audiences through his manga, Gay Gay Gay. Gay 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 no Kitaro. No Kitaro. Yokai soon appeared everywhere again. Anime, movies, television, video games. Today, their influence can be seen in works like Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke. I have never been able to say that correctly. Mononoke, Naruto, Inuyasha. Duh. Inuyasha is so good. Demon Slayer, Pokemon, and Yokai Watch. The stories continue evolving just as they have done for centuries, just more modernized. But it's so funny too because in Pokemon there is a fox that has 9 tails. I used to be a big Pokemon person, and I don't know if I would consider myself a Pokemon person anymore, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's literally called Ninetales.
See, yeah, 9-tailed fox. Yeah, it's called 9-tailed. Yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry. I wanted to make sure. I was like, I'm not gonna. This better not be like a Digimon.
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 They tried it.
Digital monsters. Digimon are the champions. Listen, Pokemon had the best fucking intro. Like, you can't top that.
Yeah.
But anyways, when you really look at yokai, you realize that they're more than monsters. They're a timeline of Japanese history. The fears of ancient villagers became river monsters. The age of the samurai created warrior spirits and demon-slaying heroes. The Edo period transformed folklore into art. Modern storytellers transform those same legends into manga, anime, films, and oh, girl, just because I brush past you doesn't mean you have to run away. Ah, where was I? Modern storytellers transform those same legends into manga, anime, films, and games. There are a few mythological traditions that have survived so many years. But the yokai of ancient forests became the yokai of samurai legends. The yokai of Woodblock Prince became the yokai of popular culture, and even today they're still evolving. Because every generation creates its own monsters, so the next time you hear something moving in the dark, just remember, in Japanese folklore, it might not be a ghost, it could be a yokai or your chancla moving. You just never know. I also realized that I never actually put in the story about the Demon King, and I apologize for that. I worked on this in sections,
It's
and I forgot.
fine.
Oops. Next time. I'm not looking it up now.
It's fine. It is fine.
Maybe I'll remember it for next time. My apologies, people. My apologies. But yeah, that's a little bit on yokai. So don't be afraid of
Yay.
yokai. There's a game called, I bring this up a lot, called Phasmophobia, and they actually have a yokai in there that you can, like, you can figure out. It's a type of demon, though.
Alrighty.
But yeah, so, excuse me, until next time.
Bye.